Russell, and this story starts with, how I learned to pronounce the word clitoris. And believe it or not, when I tell you where I was and I learned to pronounce the word clitoris, and the story's going to end with a sex scene, and it's going to be a little bit hard to believe, but I was on a bus headed to Kansas City for a debate tournament, and my debate team was the nerdiest bunch of kids that, I mean, all debate teams are. We were particularly nerdy because we were the best debate team that my high school had had ever, and we knew it, and we were very, very proud of that. And so, you know, the one difference between debaters and other nerds is we're really articulate, you know, we're really good at speaking, and we put all that energy into talking about sex all the time. And so, one of the games that the girls really like to play, because there are guys and girls, is they like to buy a copy of Cosmo, and then have one of the boys read it. So like, you know, 14 things he didn't know he wanted you to know in bed, and like that kind of stuff. And so I was always game to read it, and I didn't know anything about sex. I mean, I was a virgin, I was 15, I knew I was gonna be a virgin for a while, like that was gonna stick. And so, you know, but we started reading this one article, and I kept running across this word all the time. And here's how I said it. I kept saying clitoris. Clitoris. I didn't know. And see, my whole defense, though, I knew I was a nerd, man. I knew what a nerd I was, and my whole defense against it was like, if I pretended like I wasn't a nerd, like, oh, one of these days all the ladies are gonna be like, come to me, then that was not gonna work. But if I was just like, yeah, I mean, I'm like one of the biggest geeks in school, like that, no one could criticize me for it, so I was like, yeah, clitoris, you know, I don't know. So the girls were laughing a lot, and then eventually I was like, so what is it? And they told me, and one of them, my best friend Emily, she drew a diagram, which was helpful. So I had that. And so what I learned about it, though, here's my theory, though. The girls in the debate squad, for as geeky as they were the smartest, you know, most sophisticated girls in the whole school. And I had this theory that actually probably lots of other girls people didn't know what a clitoris was. And so I started going out and talking about clits all the time because I was so innocent. Like, people would talk to me about anything, and so I would just go. And I learned, like, this went all the way through college, like, lots of people didn't know who clits were. I mean, like, till, like, late in life. And so I was, like, on this mission, like, talking about clits. And it worked, and it helped. And then I later learned that if you're, like, innocent and geeky, people will talk to you about anything, and they'll just tell you stories about their sex lives. And so this was, like, my game, just like, you know, how many people have you slept with? I haven't slept with any. And so I got a lot out of that, and it was fun. And then I met this guy who had gone to my college. We met after college, and he was, you know, a big nerd like me, and he sort of had this similar approach to life, just ask people questions and they'll tell you everything. And it was a lot of fun. And so then he and I kind of started going out more. We were living in Washington, D.C. at the time. We met at this gym, and we were playing Ultimate Frisbee. I know, it just gets cooler. Debate, Ultimate. What's his problem? And so we're playing Ultimate Frisbee, and there's this really beautiful girl on our Ultimate team, and so we start getting all of us to go hang out together. We become this big circle of friends, and it's clear that her name's Holly, his name's Dave. Holly wants one of us. So one night, I'm actually the cooler guy at this point in the story. Dave is way cooler than me now. I mean, he is like super cool guy, and I'm still me. And he's a really cool guy, but at the time, he was really geeky. And so one night we're all out, and I kissed Holly, and he kissed Holly, and he started dating Holly. But so we're 23 years old at the time, and it's fine. I'm over it. So she was great. They had a great time. These are two of the best looking people I know. I mean, Dave was a big geek for whatever reason. I mean, he's a really good looking guy. And Holly was beautiful. And so they start dating, but Dave's a virgin, and they're dating for months. And he's not having, he is not having sex with her. And so she's complaining about it all the time to me because people tell me everything about their sex lives and their personal lives and stuff. And just constantly like, why won't Dave have sex with me? And I'm like, well, because Dave's weird. And so then, but we all, because everybody talks to everybody about everything, and Holly talks to me about it, and Dave talks to me about it, we all know when it's going to happen, and it's awesome. Like, when it happened on my 24th birthday, when they finally did it. I know, I'm supposed to get laid, right? But that's other people's lives. And so they're coming and we're hanging out. And so anyway, where it gets from there is, so they start having sex all the time, and he goes down a lot and all that stuff. So here's the really end of the story. It's the funny part, the thing I shouldn't know, but I do. Road trip across the country. She's moving to Los Angeles. She wants to be an actress. They stop in Vegas. They're having a good time. They stay in this hotel, right? And this is how there's like no distinction between Dave's life and mine, and she knows that, so that must be fun for a girlfriend. And so they're they're in bed one night, and he's, you know, going down on her and stuff, which he does a lot. And there's this headboard behind the bed, and she's like a ton of alarms, and she rips it off the bed. That's the end of the story. And the first thing she says is, "So how long until you tell Brady this story?"